Welcome back, folks. So this is going to be another one of those episodes where I tell you I did a load of stuff off camera and just didn't bother filming it. One day I'll stop doing that and I'll actually just show you everything, but today's not that day. So a couple of bits that have gone on. We just started taking a load of extra random stuff out. So headlights come out, that bowl will come out today. Subframe is now dropped. It's just kind of sat in there at the minute because I haven't got the right size socket to pull the wheels off and the car's not high enough to get it out from underneath, so it's kind of sitting there feeling sorry for itself. We've taken the PDWA valve out. That's never going back in again. We've now kind of looped ourselves into doing one of our billet shift housings as well, because apparently I'm easily persuaded. All that means is I'm going to put an inline bias valve onto that housing, or onto the bracketry of the billet shifter, so that'll look quite cool. It just means redoing a load of the brake lines and stuff, so no massive dramas. Next things to do for us tonight is to pull off the radiator shroud, a couple of like random other bits and pieces that are riveted onto the bulkhead. There's also a couple of like extra riv nuts that have been put in for earths. There's some weird screws that are in the bulkhead that are doing absolutely nothing. And then we've got to take the clutch master cylinder out. So at some point in this video you will see me laid upside down in the car in a disgusting position, hoping to God that I can get the roll pins out, or the clevis pins and the clips out of the master cylinder. I'm hoping it should be okay, on the basis that, touch wood, everything else in this has come off pretty easy so far, given that it was only built sort of 5-6 years ago. But maybe it's just Murphy's Law in that everything else has gone fine so far, and that's going to be the one that's an absolute pig. So we'll see how we get on. I've got a couple of little bits and pieces behind me just to start scuffing the bulkhead up. There's a couple of areas that are kind of flaking and paint already, so they're not going to be too bad, but shouldn't be too much to see. I'll stick it on a time lapse. The engine is sat down here and it does have colour on it. I painted it terribly. It looks, from afar, it looks quite good. See? But up close I'm going to need to redo the rocker cover. I'm going to have to put a new set of head studs on it, or a new set of head nuts, because I painted over all of those. It needs a couple of new housings. My paint skills are showing itself pretty terrible when it comes to the edges where the transfer housing are and the timing cover, but this engine only needs to look good from afar, effectively. We're going to build up a brand new engine probably winter this year that will have, so far I'm thinking it'll probably be the Med RS cam with a decent head from Sprint, decent set of pistons, nice high compression, something that we can kind of make 100 horsepower or so with, and leave it on the EFI kit as a naturally aspirated car. And then next year we'll do a full engine build for a turbo setup, and then we'll do one of our new V2 turbo kits on there. And the plan is to test out the 17, 20, 22 and the Pulsar version all at the same time on the dyno, or across a couple of days, and we can show you what all four of those setups really make. There's an engine plan for this car down the line, which is not a 5-port, but that's going to be a heck of a slow build, and it's probably something that I'm going to keep under wraps until it's ready to drop into the car. But what that does mean is that when we start doing the loom for this, I have to kind of pre-prepare a lot of it. So there's going to be a lot of extra connectors that you'll see in the loom for this car that is ready for the turbo setup and for the final engine in a couple of years' time. Work got stupidly busy, so I've called off Jack coming down in 4 days, because quite frankly I'm just not going to have time to get this ready for paint. So I'll go away on holiday for a week, and then I'll get back onto it, we'll get everything prepped, and then hopefully it's only really going to be another 2 videos or so until you guys see this in paint, or the engine bay in paint, and then we can start slowly bolting everything back together. So we have got a load of really nice DSM parts, so there's some on the engine already that I'll show you on another video once I've tidied it up. So solid engine steadies, no, solid subframe mounts, front teardrops, tops. I've got a set of silver lower rear mounts come in, and then we've just got some engine dress up stuff. So a couple of bulkhead blanks just to tidy up where the old ones are a bit rusty and crusty. Some pieces that are just getting ready to go out to ceramic coat, so we'll just get all those done in gloss black, just so we can try and tidy things up. And then we've got a load of DSM bits that are already on the engine here, so dizzy blanks, heater taps, clutch brackets, rocker bolts. I'll do a separate video once I put the new pulley onto this engine, so we've got to go through, find TDC, and then put the new pulley on, mark it up, knock the wheel off, knock the tooth off, just to get that one ready. Need a new thermostat housing, loads of odds and sods just to tidy it up. But yeah, what was supposed to be a nice quick build is going to be a real struggle to get ready for IMM, but we'll do it. So let's see how we go. Alright, so currently sat inside the car. All I've done is just pull out the driver's seat. Luckily, looks like he's put a nice little new split pin in when this was built, so it shouldn't be too bad to get out. We are going to have to remove both of the pedals because this is a servo pedal box, and we're going to revert back to a yellow tag cylinder. So I'll pull the pedal out, and then effectively there's an extension that's sort of 5.5 inches long or so, that normally goes to the servo actuator, or the like the pivot that sits inside the bulkhead or in the engine bay. What we need to do is then effectively grind a little pin out and replace it, just so that we can then use the standard actuator arm, or the arm from the master cylinder. So not too bad, you just have to mess around with bushes, but I'll do a separate video on that just to show you. But just so you can see how tight things are, let me get a torch in there too. So what we're looking at is, you can see a grand total of nothing, which is probably quite helpful. So just there in the shiny bit at the top of the screen is the clutch master clevis pin, effectively. So you can just about hopefully see that there's a small split pin through there. Doesn't look like it's been folded over too drastically, so I'm hoping I can get to that with a decent long nose pair of pliers, and then we'll just pull that one straight out, hopefully, fingers crossed. That'll then give us a pretty empty bulkhead, and I can start planning on which bits I'm going to weld up, if I'm going to bother, what stuff's going to get grommet, what stuff's going to get cleaned up separate, and then we'll start giving it a bit of a sand. But it's apparently 28 degrees in the garage, so nice and sticky and humid and horrible, so I don't want to stick it in here too much longer than I have to. So I'll do a little time lapse of me laid upside down in the car, because, you know, why not, content, and then I'll show you what it looks like once we've got it all outside. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Good job I had you on the time lapse, because if I'd had a mic in there, all you would have heard was my back cracking. So if anyone wants to save themselves some money on a chiropractor, just take a clutch master out of one of these. It basically does the same thing. Or tomorrow I won't be able to walk. One or the other. So we're now out. I'm not sure how much you can see through this side, but that is the servo arm that needs to come off. So what I'll do is I'll take the brake pedals out off camera, bring it into work, and I'll just grind. The pin that goes through the bottom side of this isn't a normal pin with a split pin. It's basically a big rivet, so you just need to grind that off, keep the bush that's in it, and then effectively you mimic the clutch master cylinder on the other side. So should be nice and easy, but yeah, famous last word, so we'll see how we get on.